from high school?
You know, a lot of the penalties were deserved. I thought the play that bothered me most was the goal that was called away where Verada wasn't even in the crease, and I don't believe he knocked Belfour over backwards the way he did. You know, the puck was up in the air, they came together and the puck went in. That's probably the play that upset me the most.
Lindy, back here.
Hold it.
I think the 9-day layoff and nerves. Obviously, we got a young team. Haven't been in this position. I expected a storm in the first 5 or 10 minutes, and we were undisciplined at time, but you know, we found a way to win it.
Lindy, back here. How do you account for Jason Woolley's offensive production throughout the playoffs? I mean, he's leading your team, or coming into the game, he's leading the team in scoring. Is this a surprise to you, or is this just something that, you know, he's seizing the opportunities here?
Well, I think the one thing, when your power play is going as good as it is, and he's a big part of that, you know, he gets a lot of points. Himself and Jidnik have been kind of the quarterbacks the whole time, and they've got pucks through. He's joined a lot of times, and I think the majority of his points have been power play points. But you know, it goes along with the special teams. When they're going well, a lot of people reap the benefits, and he's been one of them.
Hey, Lindy, did this remind you at all of the first game at Ottawa, game on the road, and maybe a slow start? Dominic kept you in long enough to get a win out of there?
Yeah, you know, at times a little bit. You know, penalty-wise, it reminded me of Ottawa for sure. But I thought as the game went on, we started to come on. And in the third period, you know, for the longest period of time, I think we only gave them one shot, and that was from outside the blue line. So our legs got underneath us, you know, and I don't think you can simulate, you know, the intensity that came in the first 5 minutes in practice. Although I thought the conditioning later on paid off for us.
Lindy, right here. Going into the third period, did you make any adjustments as far as trying to put more pressure on the net?
No, we realize as a team that they're an extremely tough team to generate chances against. You saw what they did against Colorado the last 2 games. You know, we figured we'd probably get 9 or 10 chances going into the game, and we may have got a few more by the end of the night. But the point we wanted to make was get it deep, make sure we get it below the goal line, make sure the defense got to go all the way back. We were sloppy in the first 2 periods, and in the third we dumped it in every time and got some pursuit going.
Last question for Lindy.
This performance will do a lot for the public perception of your team's chances. Does it do anything for your team's belief in their ability to come in this building and win?
No, we have a team that believes even before the game. I think the good thing is we can't get swept now anyways, you know. So we eliminated that in one night. You know, we hope to maybe sneak another one out of here, but you know, the East has been swept the last 3 years, and we just won one for the East.
Thank you, Lindy.
Thanks.
Boy, we've seen a lot of Lindy Ruff lately. Normally he's in a pretty good mood. Even when the Sabres lost, you know, during the Toronto series, or before that a couple games against Boston, they haven't lost too many. Let's put it that way. 3 losses so far in the playoffs. He's usually been in a fairly upbeat and not afraid to speak his mind. And here tonight, he basically said, hey, you know, Dominic, he plays like this all the time. Let's bring Elliotte Friedman on now, who's live at the Reunion Arena in Dallas. Fried, did you notice that whether Hasek was injured or not? Because Ruff said he didn't have a conversation with Hasek. It seemed to me that he collapsed either from exhaustion or something was bothering him after the game.
Well, actually, I think that was more jubilation. I did see him at the end of the game. He threw himself up and landed on his stomach and just laid there for a couple of minutes. There is a lot of speculation about what Hasek's health is. There were a number of saves he made in the third period where he took his time getting back up to his feet and his knees. But I can tell you that walking off the ice tonight, I did see him walk through. He was yelling, he was screaming, he was smiling. If he's in any kind of serious pain, he wasn't showing it. Of course, that may just be the emotion of the moment. We all know he's got a serious groin injury that forced him to miss the first 2 games of the Stanley Cup semifinal against Toronto, and he also has said it's nothing that's going to get any better until he gets his rest, and he won't get his rest for at least 3 more games.
You know, the victory for the Sabres is amazing enough to go into the Dallas rink and actually beat the Stars at Reunion Arena. But when you couple that with the fact that just about everything went against Buffalo tonight, you look at the fact that the Dallas Stars outshot them in a big way, 35 saves by Hasek tonight, and you also look at the fact that the Sabres gave up that goal with less than a minute left to go in regulation. You figure, as you were talking about earlier, Hebsy, that would just knock them completely out of this game. It didn't happen, and it really says a lot about this Sabres team, Elliotte.
I think that has also a lot to do with why Lindy Ruff was so quiet and down a lot more than normal than he usually is in the postgame. I think that Lindy Ruff was very disappointed in the way his team played tonight. 23-9, they were outshot after the first two periods. Those 6 penalties, seven minors by 6 players in a row. You know, the Buffalo Sabres don't like it when people say they're a one-man team and Dominik Hasek steals game for them. Aside from tonight, they really were. Ken Hitchcock is at the podium. Let's hear from the losing coach.
From our team's standpoint, I thought our team played a very, very strong hockey game. I think the one thing that we probably feel like we'd like to have back is we maybe got a little bit in a situation where we tried to protect a little bit in the third period, and they came back on us a little bit, but it's awful hard to be critical of our hockey club the way they played tonight. I think we had a lot of good play from a lot of people tonight.
How much does that worry you then to play that well and then lose the hockey game?
Well, I think as far as first of all, we don't really want to allow 3 goals at home, and we did tonight. So there's a couple things defensively we can do. And as far as their goaltender, if the next game we've got to get 70 to score 3, we'll get 70 to score 3. We have to find a way to get it done.
Did you have a sense of foreboding when you had all those power plays in the first and second period there and didn't score them?
Well, yeah, and I thought if we could have got that second goal, we could have maybe allowed or made them open it up a little bit more, but they were able to hang in there. And, I thought we went a little bit flat when they scored their first goal, and we were in a little bit of shock because I think that we, certainly in the first period and the second period, that's probably as sound a hockey game as we've played. And then to give up those 2 quick goals, it was a little bit of a shock. That was a heck of a deflection, that second goal by Primo. And then to come back and then to play as well as we did in the overtime. We played great in the overtime. It was, that's what happens when you're pressing that hard and you've got that many chances, that many just abouts. Sometimes those things come back and haunt you like that goal.
Ken, you talked this morning about needing to develop some anger to match Buffalo. They already had it, being a 7th seed. Your team needed to get angry.
Well,
go ahead.
I think the game, and I've said this before, I just feel like based on the 2 teams and the way they play, this is just going to be a normal game. I mean, this is the way things are going to be between these 2 teams. I feel like both teams play with a lot of passion. Both teams play physical. Both teams put a lot on the line. I think they got their game in here and played well in the third period and got a win. But I still think from our standpoint, we're probably going to have to play with more desperation, Tim. Obviously, we're going to have to find some ways to control the tempo of the game for 60 minutes rather than 45 or 50.
You've talked about your team having problems against teams that have an aggressive penalty kill. Is this a team that, in your opinion, has an aggressive penalty kill?
Not really. I think that, the biggest difference on our power play was that we didn't score on the quality chances we had. We had 2 no-brainers to score in the overtime, and there was a double deflection there that he got a pad on that I still don't know how he got it on.
Ken, how big is a Game 2 win before you go to Buffalo?
I think Game 2 is a game that has a lot of pressure on the home team regardless of what you do in Game 1. And I feel the same for Game 3 when the home team goes and plays in that game. I think those 2 games set up the momentum of the series, and they, like I said, there'll be some pressure on us in Game 2, and there'll be the same type of pressure on them in Game 3.
2 more questions for Ken. Excuse me?
Ken, I just wonder, first of all, I know you've been saying all along that you think Buffalo matches up very well against your club. You've been saying that. Do you think your players believe that more now? I mean, I think you always did, but I'm not real sure, and I'm sure a lot of people aren't real sure if they did after hearing how the Western Conference is so much better.
Well, I don't know that, our team's been on the right side of winning all year, but barely on the right side. And that's not going to change if we're going to win. We're not going to blow anybody out. We've shown the ability to find ways to win all year. And I felt pretty strongly, and I think our players did, that these two teams, mostly based on the 2-1 game in Buffalo, match up pretty well against each other. They're very strong in the middle. We're strong in the middle. And I just think that, you can throw the 7th seed out the window because 82 nights, if Buffalo was healthy, they would be a lot higher seed. And we were healthy for 90% of the year. So that was the gap. But in the head-to-head competition, it's pretty close.
Ken, what are you thinking as the winning goal unfolds in front of you? Do you see Woolley come out?
Well, I know when you get in a situation where there's a soft play down low, and you can see the guy coming through the middle of the ice and there's a lot of room. He scored some goals like that all year, and to see an eye dog, I mean, it goes through Eddie's legs, and it's funny that the chances missed in the other end, they come back to haunt you sometimes. We've got to, if we score that goal with Nieuwendyk and Verbeek, and especially Verbeeker on the second one there, it's a different story. But when you get in overtime, it's such a crapshoot. You never know what's going to happen.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
All right, there's Ken Hitchcock, the head coach of the Dallas Stars. And usually when you ask the question about who the pressure's on in Game 2, the coach will go on and give you a stand-pat answer. Not the case with Hitchcock. He actually says the pressure is clearly on the home team, which is certainly the case with the Dallas Stars. Elliotte Friedman joined by a special guest at Reunion Arena. Let's go there live.
Thank you very much, Greg. I'm here with Michael Groshek, who unfortunately only went one shift tonight. Michael, what happened to you in the first period?
When I got first shift, I think it was in a third shift of the game, and I just hit the guy, and I missed him, and I just paused my bag very badly.
Any chance you'll be able to go in Game 2?
I see little chances. I'm not sure I can make a decision right now. I will see how I feel tomorrow, and we will see.
Michael, you did get a chance to watch the third period and the overtime, and I know you're a country-mate of Dominik Hasek. I'm sure nothing that he does surprises you, but again, he astounded everybody tonight.
It's always, he was great whole season long, and he was just unbelievable today. He just stole the game tonight, and guys play well, just Dominik is the best goalie in the world, and it was awesome.
And finally, Michael, you were in this position against Toronto. You stole the first game in Toronto, but you lost the second one. How much are the players going to be reminded of that tomorrow and Thursday, knowing they can go home 2-0?
Yes, especially for Dallas, I think they were a little bit disappointed, and good for us. We won the first game, and we got a chance to get another one, and it's a Stanley Cup Finals, and you want to give nobody a chance to come back and get a better feeling, and if you can steal good, that would be good.
All right, thank you very much, Michael. The winning goal scorer, Jason Woolley, is at the podium. Let's go there now.
Yeah. So I think, to see them, they've scored big goals all year, so I don't think it really caught us off guard. It was kind of an unfortunate goal. I think Peck's got a stick jamming in the boards or something and throw it out front, and he's in the right spot, and it was a big goal for them.
Jason, you described how the goal went in. How did you feel? What do you remember that first emotion about scoring that goal?
Well, I didn't really know it went in, to be honest with you, at first. I think I shot through a screen there, and I wasn't sure how to react to it. I was obviously very excited about what happened after I saw it go in, but it's a big goal for our team, and to put us up 1-0, it's a great feeling personally, but we're a long way from done, and we know that.
Wayne, we don't want to forget you. You were complimented on your goal by Ken Hitchcock Describe your goal.
Well, for me, on the power play, my main job is just to create traffic and kind of try and screen the goaltender. And the guys were playing with the puck really well around the outside, and Alex made a great shot on net. The rebound came to me, and I was able to pop it home.
Jason, how much of a lift did it give you guys in the third period to watch and the overtime to watch that performance by Dominic? And he kept you in it there in the overtime.
Well, we're very familiar with that. He's been doing that all season and all playoffs. Obviously, he's a big part of our success, and we feed off that. We need him to play like that for us to be successful. And, it gave us a chance to, Sanderson could have put it away on a breakaway. We had a real good chance there, but he came up with some big saves late to hold us in there and give us that chance to even it up.
Any more questions? Gentlemen, thank you.
Good job.
All right. Jason Woolley, Wayne Primo, a couple of good Canadian boys. Buffalo. You know what? This team, here's a team that's 13-3 in the playoffs. They keep getting dissed. They're the underdogs. People in Dallas are going, the Buffalo Sabres. They were the 7th seed, which means absolutely, you know what? To even bring up the fact that they were the 7th seed in the first round of the playoffs means absolutely nothing. Really does. I mean, once they won that opening series 4-0 against Ottawa, they may as well have been the first seed because they knocked off the seventh seed. Yeah, right, number 2. So they knocked off number 2. To me, if you're the 7th seed and you knock off number 2, you're the number 2 seed now. Even though it didn't happen that way in the next round.
This year, when you consider the fact that the number 3 through 8 seeds in the East, toss a coin. I mean, really, in order to figure out who was better, it really comes down to that in the East this year.
Correct me if I'm wrong. They're the number 7 seed. They go into Ottawa, they win the opener on the road. They go into Boston, they win the opener on the road, I think. They go into Toronto, they win the opener on the road with Dwayne Rollison. They go into Dallas, they win the opener on the road. How much more respect are you going to get if you're the number 7 seed and you constantly have to play on the road and you win every single time you have to on the road and you're 13-3 in the playoffs? I'm telling you, if I'm the Dallas Stars, I am really concerned. I'm worried. This team gains more momentum every time they win a game, no matter where it is, no matter if their number 1 goalie's playing or not, no matter if Grosek goes out on the first shift. They keep rolling over 4 lines and 3 sets of defense. I'm telling you right now, it's possible that they could end up sweeping the Dallas Stars.
Now I think you're jumping. Now I think you're jumping.
You think so? All I know is this. If they win Game 2, okay, I would find it very difficult for Dallas to come back yet again after a 7-game series against Colorado. And don't get me wrong, they played outstanding against Colorado. This Buffalo team, to me, looks like a team that if
to support your argument, they're perfect at home.
They may not be able to lose.
Elliotte, what do you think? Is a sweep possible for Buffalo?
I think we are getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Is it possible? Sure. This reminds me of the first game of the Ottawa series where they threw everything at Hasek, and he stoned them. And you could see Ottawa's confidence, especially after the Senators lost Game 2 at home, went completely down the tubes, and they got wiped out in 4 straight games. But I think that Ken Hitchcock has made an interesting comment here by putting so much pressure on his team. Sure, the Stars are going to have pressure on them to win Game 2 here at home, but to have Hitchcock come right out and admit it, it's going to be a tight hockey team in the next couple of days. To put so much emphasis on Game 2, it's unlikely you can come back from down 2-0 to win, but to say this one's really everything puts a heck of a lot of pressure on his hockey team at home on Thursday night, especially if they lose another game in as frustrating a manner as they did tonight, because really, as we all know, Dallas was the better team tonight.
Yeah, and a lot of people talk about, and Hebsy just mentioned it, the fact that the Buffalo Sabres haven't been given a lot of respect in this postseason. Do you think that's the case, or is it more the fact that they've just been playing some pretty good teams on this stretch here in the playoffs?
No, I don't think they have been given the proper respect. I think the Buffalo Sabres are a really good hockey team. And Ken Hitchcock even said earlier this morning, and again tonight, they wouldn't be a number 7 seed if they'd been healthy all season long. If you take a look at when they really slumped and dropped through the Eastern Conference rankings, that was when Hasek was hurt. And we all know how valuable he is to their hockey team. The Buffalo Sabres have won every round this year without home ice advantage in any of them. They are 2-1 in openers, including the one, as you guys mentioned, against Rollison last week. And it should be no surprise to anybody. The thing is, everybody just takes a look at Dallas knocking out Colorado, so they immediately anoint them the Stanley Cup champions. Dallas could win this series still, obviously, but it's going to be a war for them to do it. Buffalo is that good a hockey team, and they really showed everybody tonight.
Okay, Elliotte, thanks very much. We'll get back to you in a couple minutes. We're going to take a break, pay some bills, and come right back with more live from Reunion Arena. The Stanley Cup Finals, the Sabres winning in overtime tonight 3-2, lead the series 1-0. Back after this.
This Molson Canadian Playoff Special Report is brought to you in part by Gatorade. Is it in you? By AT&T Canada.